So this video is a remake of the old one I made a couple months back, mostly just for better quality as well as a few things I decided should be added into it. This will go over bunny hopping mostly for Xbox, but it can be used as a tutorial for PC, but I am going to say that this is directed more towards Xbox players. This will also give tips and advice along with clearing up some misconceptions that a lot of people seem to have about bunny hopping. So what it is bunny hopping is a movement mechanic that is used to gain and maintain a speed above the original speed cap. So that would be like 220 running speed normally. And you would use a game mechanic known as strafing while in the air to gain speed, and then jumping again when you land on the ground, which would help maintain the speed. So that'll look something like what I'm doing right now. As you can see, I am jumping and moving my camera side to side in the air, which is the strafing part. To bunny hop in Left 4 Dead games, you need to have tick-perfect hops, and this is because the second you touch the ground, the speed cap that originally was set is applied again, and the time window to hit the hop while maintaining your speed is about 33 milliseconds. This is important because in order to jump and not lose your speed while bunny hopping, you must hit a tick-perfect hop on the ground, and if you miss a hop, it'll be noticeable as you will most likely lose all the speed you gained. If you miss hops while doing stand hops, you will be reverted back to the normal walking speed of 220. If you do it while doing crouch hops, you will be reverted to crouching speed. So, if you lose some speed but not all of it while bunny hopping, that doesn't mean you missed a hop, or rather maybe from you either had bad strafing, or you perhaps bumped into an object, say a common or just something else. How you bunny hop is you simply run forward, you want to jump, and then let go forward, so W on PC, forward on Xbox, and then start looking left or right in the air, and then press jump the second you hit the ground again, and then just continue doing that. This will take practice, so do not expect to get good overnight. So the next topic to go over is the difference between crouch and stand hops. One thing that is thought to be a difference is that when strafing in the air when doing crouch hops, you will have less air acceleration compared to doing strafes while doing stand hops. It's not too sure if this applies to Left 4 Dead games, but it does apply to most Source games, though it is thought to be the case. Crouch hops go a little further than stand hops, so that makes them useful for going down slopes, under doorways, but other than that, you're not going to want to use them that much. So this is where it gets into more of the Xbox portion of the video, and this is going to be me explaining the best settings and binds for bunny-hopping in Xbox. So for starters, when you are on Xbox to bunny hop, you will want to have a lower sensitivity and not a higher one. The reason for this is that just with the way Xbox and controllers are with the sticks, if you have a higher sensitivity, it is harder to turn and, strafe with the bunny hops if you have a higher sensitivity, because it'll mostly just be snapping side to side. So you'll not gain much speed, it'll be hard to control. So you're not going to have a lower sensitivity to get efficient, decent strafes. So I will be showing a few demonstrations of different sensitivities as they go higher and higher, and how you can, if you are paying attention, you'll notice that it definitely does get a little worse. Even here you can tell that it is a little less effective compared to what it was doing earlier. And that's just because the higher the sensitivity is, it's going to be harder to control it, you're going to be snapping, not going to be turning much, which is just going to overall make it harder to B-hop and not get much speed. So as you can see, this is the highest sensitivity, which is honestly just awful. I'm not saying you can't be up on high sensitivities, but if you want to get good at B-hopping and strafing, I would entirely recommend against it. So the best settings I found for B-hopping for sensitivity is these right here. And as you saw, I set those to about less than 25%. And that would just make it much more efficient and easier to strafe. It will make it harder to aim, so if you're going to play versus or anything, you're going to lose that. But overall, I'd say if you actually do plan to get good at B-hopping and strafing, it is worth it to have this sensitivity. So next I'll be going over the best configuration to have on Xbox, so basically button binds. And rather than normal configuration, which is A to jump, it's A to jump, you would use a 6 to turn, which is just way harder for B-hopping. You're going to want to use config 3, which has, instead of A to jump, it's going to have left trigger to jump, which is going to make it much easier to be able to hit the jump button as well as use the 6 to turn, rather than press a button right next to the A button. So this config will make it much more easier and comfortable. So the next topic to go over is about some misconceptions that people have about bunny hopping, mostly for Xbox, but I have seen as well on PC. So one misconception is that you need to be crouching to b-hop, which is entirely not true, as there is two types of b-hops, stand hops, and then crouch hops. The timing between the two is slightly different, but it is possible to do both on Xbox and PC. Another misconception is that you need a script to be able to b-hop, which, once again, that is false. I have seen it pop up on PC many times, which kind of makes sense, depending on things, but I have also seen it pop up on Xbox, which makes way less sense, as it is not possible currently to get a b-hop script on Xbox. But as I explained earlier, you can b-hop perfectly fine without a script on both PC and Xbox. It'll just take a while and it takes practice, but with practice and time you will get good at it. So the third and final misconception that I want to talk about is that there is a speed cap on Xbox, so you can't go as fast as PC players. This isn't true, as the only difference between Xbox and PC is the ability to strafe. Everything else, the timing for hops, everything, etc., unless you want to count FPS and such, is about the same. The only speed caps in this game that exist is, one is the original one, which is, the walking or crouching or stand speed that you go at, so the max of 220 velocity, not including adrenaline. And then the other one, there is one, but it is humanly impossible to achieve it on both PC and Xbox alike, so there really is not any type of speed cap to apply to either of them. I can say Xbox can't go as fast as PC can. With enough practice, you can. It'll just look like it because PC has better strafes, but overall, there's no difference. One more quick thing to add on is that if you're on PC, do not use b-hop maps, the custom download maps from the workshop, as those will not help you at all. It is better to use just the normal campaigns and just play through and get better practice at b-hopping on the different grounds and timings that there is throughout the campaigns. But you want to avoid any custom b-hop maps. This is also true for Xbox, just play the campaigns and you'll get better with time.